Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 13 and we are going to present our materials about styles and verbal humor. The first speaker will be me, Sania Mendoza Putri. Let's move to the next slide. Stylistic and verbal humor. There are two key theoretical principles underpin the language of humor. The first one is humor requires incongruity. It is include any kind of stylistic twist in a pattern of language and any situation where there is a mismatch between what someone says and what they mean. The second one is incongruity can be situated in any layer of linguistic structure, which means that the humor mechanism can operate at any level of language and discourse, and it can even play one level up against another. So, based on the two theoretical principles, the stylistic analysis of humor involves locating the incongruity and indicating whereabouts in the language system it occurs. So, the commonly used stylistic devices for humor first is puns and verbal play. It is a form of word play in which some feature of linguistic structure simultaneously combines two unrelated meanings. So basically, puns are words that sound alike but they have a different meanings. Like in this example, in the dialogue, internet cafe is basically a cyber cafe as we know. They are not a real cafe which serve food and beverage. But here the responder replied and asking about how was that food. So that is the reason why the first speaker is replied the server is not responding because he actually didn't go there for a real dinner with food, but he just spent the night there surfing the internet. So that is the essence of punning, where an ambiguity is projected by balancing two otherwise unrelated elements of linguistic structure. Puns are very hard to get love reaction more than other forms of humor. So if you want to make a pun, the point is you use them very sparingly or then it would be overused. The second devices of humor which commonly used in stylistic is parody. Parody is to copy or imitate commonly for comic effect the style of something or someone else. By its nature already, parody exaggerates and sometimes uncommonly mocks the original. Parody and satire are forms of verbal humor which draw on a particular kind of irony for the design of their stylistic incongruity. So let's see the example of parody from these two poems. The first poem is made by William Carlos Williams, and the second poem, which is the parody of the previous poem, is made by Kenneth Cobb. So, by changing the crime from eating your plums to chopping down the house, Kenneth seems to be commenting on the preciousness and melodrama of Williams' poem. And then irony. Irony is situated in the space between what you say and what you mean. There are two concepts of irony. The first one is to say opposite of what you mean. Like the example, when you hit someone with something and they say, thanks a lot. And the second concept of irony is to echo what one says. Like this example, this is fantastic. It echoes actually, fantastic indeed. It smells great, doesn't it? Echoing is critical to parody, and the principle of ironic echo is absolutely central concept of parody. And the last devices of humor which commonly used in stylistic is satire. Satire is literary genre which uses wit and humor to stimulate people towards a positive action. It sets out to improve bad behavior through sarcasm and irony. And also, satire has an aggressive element which is not necessarily present in parody. That is why satire and parody are related different and not always easy to make it out. And the idea of writing satire is to be able to mock person, country, place, concept, or belief in a humorous way. So from that, it might have an impact on that group and cause them to change in the long run. Like this example, your friend sleeps in front of you while you give him a hand and ask, what happened this time? And your friend replied, I was viciously attacked by gravity. That is the example of satire.
Okay, Wells uncovers an array of naming practices which, even in this relatively narrow sphere of discourse activity, illustrates again how statistic creativity can work simultaneously on a number of levels of the language. The world of popular music is all too easily branded as bland by those who dislike it, and sameness the result from its blend of technological reproduction and appeal to mass consumption. The surface line is to choose a popular modifier like big, beat, bad, hot, new, red, blue, little, and sweet. For those who think pop music is meaningless, repetitive noise, then clearly names like Aha, Bapi Bapika, Blam Blam, Kajogogo, Oingo, Boingo, Slammer, and you might do better by punning. At least you will rise a smile. Another creativity source of naming practice comes from the register we normally associate with linguistic creativity, literally language. The bards and poets join with Milton with Shakespeare's sister to give us many books, characters and chapters, and verse much culture and drama. Pop emphasizes noise, science fiction, and symbol. Here we find dubliners Stephen Hero and Phineas Wake, Catch-22, Erehon, Ailes in Gaza, Fra Lippo, Gadot, Dorian Guy, Hard Times, Look Back in Anger. The Bible and Genesis, the Odyssey, Romeo and Juliet, Uriah Heep, and 12th Night, and here we can identify many questions.
Alright, now we come to illusion and parody. Illusion is something that is said or written that is intended to make you think of a particular thing or person, or in other words, illusion is a brief and indirect reference to a person, place, thing, or idea of historical, cultural, literary, or political significance. It doesn't describe in detail the person or thing to which it refers. It is just a passing comment, and the writer expects the reader to possess enough knowledge to spot the allusion and grasp the importance in a text. For parody is an imitation of particular writer, artist, or genre, exaggerating it deliberately to produce a comic effect. The humorous effect in parody is achieved by imitating and overstressing noticeable features of a famous piece of literature, as in caricatures, where certain peculiarities of a person are highlighted to achieve a humorous effect. Now, the function of allusion. By and large, the use of allusion enables writers or poets to simplify complex ideas and emotions. The readers comprehend the complex ideas by comparing the emotions of the writer or poet to the references given by them. Furthermore, the references to Greek mythology give a dreamlike and magical touch to the work of art. Similarly, biblical allocations appeal to the readers with religion backgrounds. And for the function of parody is a kind of comedy that imitates and mocks individuals or a piece of work. However, when it mingles with satire, it makes satire more pointed and effective. Most importantly, a parody appeals to the reader's sense of humor. He enjoys the writer poking fun at the set ideals of society and becomes aware of the lighter side of an otherwise serious state of affairs. Thus, parody adds spice to a piece of literature that keeps the reader interested. That is the function of parody. Well, in the end, there are two kinds of parodic humor known as high burlesque and low burlesque. High burlesque, it means the style of the work is high or dignified and serious, but the subject matter is low or insignificant and trivial. In low burlesque, the style of the work is low, but the subject matter is high, or serious and significant. Most importantly, the further distinction with both high and low burlesque, which are parody is part of high burlesque. A parody mimics the style of particular genres, and the purpose is to mock a trivial subject by presenting it in exaggerated and more elegant way than it normally deserves. And parody are the most popular and widely used form of burlesque. Another form of high burlesque is mock heroic. Mock heroic imitate the form and style of an epic poem like Homer's Odyssey, which is quite normal and complex. Technically, it is a type of parody. Mock heroics induce humor by presenting insignificant subject in the long, sophisticated style of epic poetry. Now for types of low burlesque, it is called travesty. A travesty is a lewd or exaggerated imitation of a significant work or subject, or an absurd representation of a subject. Its purpose is to ridicule the subject, work, or author by mocking it in a vulgar or grotesque way. I think that is all from me.